First story. My younger son broke his elbow at school, so I grounded my entitled older son, canceled his beach trip, and took away his paychecks as punishment for not protecting his brother to teach him responsibility and bonding. It backfired. Now everything is falling apart, and I regret every damn action I did. I 42F have 3 kids, but this is mainly about my 2 sons. Tyler 17 and Max 11. They go to 2 separate schools that are right next to each other, literally connected by a shared library that has 2 zones, one for the high schoolers and one for the middle schoolers. Sometimes, especially during lunch or after school, the younger ones wander into the high school section to use the computers since there are more of them. This past Tuesday, something happened that's put my entire house in chaos. It ended with Max in the hospital with a broken elbow, Tyler grounded, and me and my husband arguing over whether I went too far or not far enough. Here's the chain of events. Tyler and a group of classmates had a project due. Apparently, their teacher sent them to the library to type everything up. At the same time, Max and a few of his middle school friends were on the high school side of the library during their lunch break, using the computers. Now, this part may sound minor, but it hit a nerve with me. Max noticed Tyler and his friends. And as Max always does when he spots Tyler in public, he decided to act out. He climbed up on one of the library tables and started dancing and showing off, according to what the librarian and a few students later told us. He just did it. He slipped, fell, and landed badly on his arm. He broke it in 2 places and had to get surgery the same day. We spent the night in the hospital, and he's now on painkillers, out of school for at least a week, and scheduled for physical therapy. We have insurance, but the deductible was still nearly $2,400 up front. I'm not rolling in cash, so that hit hard. What really pissed me off is this. Tyler was right there, standing feet away, and he did absolutely nothing. I get it, Max is 11 and makes dumb choices. But Tyler is 17. He's old enough to know better and old enough to intervene. I don't care if Max is technically not his responsibility. When your little brother climbs up on a damn library table, your first instinct should be to get him down. And don't tell me he didn't see it. He was right there, making eye contact. Several people confirmed this. Max idolizes Tyler. He tries to be cool in front of him, and Tyler either ignores him or acts embarrassed. Last summer, at a barbecue, Max sprayed water from a bottle to get Tyler's attention. Tyler didn't say a word, he just stared and rolled his eyes. Then Max slipped on the wet patio. It wasn't serious, but it gave him a bruise and scared the hell out of me. I let it go then, because it felt like an accident. But this time, no. Not when your 11-year-old brother is being reckless in your direct line of sight and ends up in surgery. So yeah, I lost it a little. I asked Tyler later that night once the panic wore off why the F he didn't stop Max. I told him, I don't care if you had to drag him off the table. You're the older brother. You knew it was dangerous. He just shrugged and said, I didn't tell him to do it. It's not my fault. I wasn't in charge of him. That's when I blew. I told him he's grounded for the rest of the week. No beach trip with the lacrosse team this weekend. No sleepovers. No extended phone time. He's 17 and has a part-time job at a local sports shop. I also told him I'm taking a portion of his paycheck moving forward until the $2,400 we paid is recovered just to help with the medical bill. I don't care if it takes 6 months. He's old enough to understand that actions or inaction have consequences. He flipped. He said I was being completely unfair, punishing him for something that wasn't his fault, ruining his week, and humiliating him by making him pay for something he didn't cause. My husband sided with him and said I'm punishing one child for another child's injury, and that it was a freak accident, not neglect. But I honestly don't see it that way. I've spent years teaching Tyler what responsibility looks like. He wanted the perks of being treated like an adult, working, driving, staying out late. But when it came time to act like one, he just stood there while his little brother made a fool of himself and got hurt. That's not just a lack of responsibility. That's pure indifference. And yeah, I know Max is no angel either. He's impulsive, a little wild, and constantly pushing limits. But he's 11. He still needs help with basic hygiene. He's a child. Tyler, on the other hand, is on the edge of adulthood. And to watch your brother climb up onto a public table and do something stupid, and then just shrug when he gets hurt. That's not what I raised him to do. And before anyone says it, no, I'm not playing favorites. I've grounded Max plenty of times. He's lost his tablet, missed birthday parties, and had weekend privileges cut for less. But right now he's dealing with a cast, surgery pain, and missing school. I don't think he needs an extra punishment on top of that. His broken arm is the consequence. Tyler. His consequence is missing a weekend party. And honestly, This isn't even just about the table incident. It's the build-up. The way Tyler has tuned Max out every time he tries to engage him. The way he walks past him like he's invisible. The way he acts like it's beneath him to even acknowledge that Max exists when he's with his friends. I get it, teenagers are teenagers, but if your little brother is idolizing you, and you keep acting like he's trash, eventually he'll do something desperate to get your attention. This time, that desperation landed him in the hospital. He didn't say much that night. Went to his room, door shut, music on. Fine. But the next morning he decided to bring it back up, tried to act calm about it. But you could tell he was pissed. He came to me, while I was sorting Max's meds for school, and said, "You really think this is fair? You're punishing me for something I didn't even do." I didn't say anything right away. He pushed again. "You're seriously making me pay for his surgery now? Like you're docking my pay or something?" I told him flatly, "You're not a kid anymore. You want adult privileges. You need to take adult accountability. You saw your brother about to do something dangerous, and you stood there. I'm not asking you to babysit him. I'm asking you to use basic judgment." He just shook his head and walked out. Later that night, my husband brought it up again. Said I was going too far, that grounding Tyler was one thing, but taking his paycheck was crossing the line. Said, "You're treating him like he pushed Max off the table when he didn't even touch him." That really got under my skin. Because this isn't about pushing. This is about standing there and letting it happen again. This wasn't some isolated freak accident. Max has a long history of pulling these stunts whenever Tyler's around. And Tyler knows it. He knows Max watches his every move, tries to copy him, and wants his approval. And Tyler's reaction every time is to ignore him or worse, look embarrassed that he even exists. A few months ago, Max was jumping around his room trying to copy a TikTok move and yelled for Tyler to watch. Tyler walked by and said, "You're embarrassing," then kept walking. Max ended up jumping off the edge of his dresser and twisted his ankle. Not broken, but swollen and sore for days. When I asked Tyler why he didn't tell him to stop, he gave me the same line he gave this time. "Not my job to babysit him." I get it. He didn't tell Max to climb on the table. He didn't encourage it. But he stood there. Didn't say a word. Just watched it unfold, and now wants to wash his hands of it like he was never there. I'm not okay with that. That's not how this works. And before anyone jumps in to ask, no, Max isn't skating by. He's just in a sling right now, barely able to get through the school day. He's not going out or seeing friends either. He's not getting off easy. But I'm not about to lay into an 11-year-old who just had surgery. He's got a broken elbow, limited movement, and pain meds. I'll deal with him when he's actually functional again. Meanwhile, Tyler is sulking in silence. Hasn't apologized. Hasn't asked how Max is doing. Hasn't checked on him. Just hiding in his room and repeating the same thing to anyone who'll listen, that it's not his fault, that I'm being unfair, that he's missing the lacrosse beach trip because his brother's an idiot. I actually got a text from his coach asking why Tyler wouldn't be at the weekend event. I told him he's grounded. The coach didn't push, but he did say, "Tyler's a good kid, but he avoids conflict like the plague, on and off the field." And there it is. That's exactly what I've been seeing too. Tyler avoids conflict. Avoids stepping in. Doesn't want to be involved. I've seen him walk past Max doing something dumb a dozen times, and I've always looked the other way. Told myself it's just siblings being siblings. That Tyler has a right to his own space. That maybe Max is annoying, and Tyler shouldn't have to deal with him. But this time, Max ended up in a hospital bed. This time, there's metal in his arm. This time, we had to pull money from our emergency fund just to get him through surgery. And now my 17-year-old wants to act like it's all a coincidence that he happened to be nearby while it all happened. He's not a little kid. He knows when something is dangerous. He knows what could go wrong. And the fact that he didn't even flinch when his brother climbed on that table, that's what I can't let go of. The indifference. I'm not angry because Max got hurt. I'm angry because it didn't have to happen. Because Tyler could have said one sentence, "Get off the table," and it would have changed everything. But he didn't. He chose not to care. And I'm not rewarding that by letting him off the hook so he can go play beach volleyball with his friends and pretend nothing happened. He thinks I'm being cruel. My husband thinks I'm being emotional. I think I'm the only one here who's actually holding the line. So I'll ask. Ada? Comments. Comment 1. You said it yourself. I told him I don't care if you had to drag him off the table. That tells me you expected your teenage son to physically intervene in public, in front of his friends, in the middle of the school library. Let me guess, if he had yanked Max down and Max had hit his head, you'd be posting asking if he should be punished for being too rough. You're not looking for accountability. You're trying to make Tyler feel what you felt. And that's not discipline. That's emotional debt collection. It's punishing him because you were scared and needed someone to blame. The paycheck thing. Wildly inappropriate. You didn't even ask him. You told him you're taking his earned income over something that has literally nothing to do with him legally or directly. You're lucky he doesn't just quit the job out of spite. Also, Max isn't learning anything either. He broke his arm doing dumb SHT for attention. And now he's getting visits, pain meds, and everyone babying him. You're unintentionally reinforcing that attention equals reward. Grow up. Both of you. Comment 2. YTA. You're misplacing your anger. You're mad because your younger kid did something idiotic and got hurt. And instead of addressing his behavior directly or looking at how the school failed to supervise, you're shifting blame to the older one who literally didn't do anything. You say Tyler should have stopped him. How? If he had put hands on Max and Max fell or complained, Tyler's the one getting written up or suspended. Schools don't care if it's a sibling situation. If a student touches another, it can escalate fast. You're essentially punishing Tyler for not throwing himself under the disciplinary bus to prevent something you, your husband, and the school all failed to prevent by not teaching or supervising Max better. Also, docking his paycheck. That's controlling and messed up. You're sending the message that you'll dip into his earned money anytime something goes wrong in the house. Expect that relationship to fracture hard in a few years. And it won't be because he's selfish, it'll be because you trained him not to trust you. Comment 3. This whole post screams of you projecting the responsibility of parenting onto your teenager because you're burnt out or frustrated with the younger one. Tyler isn't Max's dad. He's not a hall monitor. He's a high schooler trying to function in his own world. And now you're telling him he's to blame for his brother's injury. You've made him Max's keeper, and I guarantee he will grow to resent both you and his brother for it. You're not teaching Max anything either. His arm is broken because he did something idiotic, and instead of sitting down with him to work through why he does this crap, you've turned it into a morality lesson for Tyler. Max is learning. Act out = drama plus attention. Tyler is learning. No matter what you do, if Max screws up, you'll be punished. If your goal was to destroy whatever thread of relationship they had left, congrats. You nailed it. Update. I see the comments. I've read enough of them to know the general consensus is that I'm the arsehole here. That's fine. I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm posting an update because the situation advanced in ways I didn't expect. And I think context matters. First, for everyone who kept insisting that the school bore responsibility, yes, that part actually went somewhere. I requested a meeting with the principal, the librarian, and the vice principal 2 days after the incident. I wasn't going to let it slide that there was no supervision in a shared space where middle schoolers and high schoolers were mixing. I didn't accuse anyone of intentionally neglecting students. I just laid out the facts. An 11-year-old fell off a table in a shared library space during school hours, and no adult was present at the time. The school visibly realized the liability issue. They didn't push back. They were careful with their wording, but they admitted the librarian was in her office handling administrative duties rather than supervising. They also admitted there had been ongoing issues with students crossing between sides during lunch. Where this gets complicated is that during this same meeting, the 6th grade counselor quietly mentioned they had noticed a developing pattern of attention-seeking and disruptive behavior from my younger son, Max, in the last several months. Nothing severe enough to trigger disciplinary referral, but noticeable. I'll be honest, I did not want to hear that. I pushed back. I asked if they were suggesting he caused his own injury. They said no, but they wanted to know if something at home had changed recently. I told them nothing had. Which is true. Life has been stable. No moves, no divorces, no deaths, nothing traumatic. Just normal life. But later that week, I overheard Max video chatting with his friends and boasting about the injury. He said, and I quote, "Tyler dared me to do it. He was watching. He wanted to see if I'd do it." That stopped me cold. I stepped right in and told him to repeat it to my face. He froze. He stared at me for maybe 4 seconds and then said, "I just wanted them to think it was cool." So, he admitted he lied. He admitted he was trying to seem impressive. But it was the part where he chose to lie on Tyler that really hit me, because that means Max, at some level, knows Tyler's opinion is the metric he measures himself by. The very bond I've been trying to enforce is the thing Max is contorting himself around. And yes, before someone tries to claim I ignored this, Tyler denied the dare story the second it surfaced. He didn't get defensive. He didn't yell. He just looked tired and said, "I didn't tell him to do anything. I don't even talk to him at school." Which, unfortunately, is believable. Now, here's where people will say I pushed too far again. So be it. Remember how I grounded Tyler for the week, and removed the lacrosse beach trip. Well, my husband decided he didn't agree. While I was out getting groceries Saturday, he let Tyler pack a bag, drove him to the beach, and told him, "You don't deserve to miss this." I found out because one of the other team parents posted pictures on Facebook. So yes, I was furious. Not only did my husband go behind my back, but he actively taught Tyler that if he doesn't like my discipline, he can just wait for a more lenient ruling from Dad. So now it wasn't just me versus Tyler. It became me versus both of them. Tyler came home Sunday night like nothing had happened. I met them both at the door. I looked at Tyler and said, "Grounding continues. 2 more weeks. The phone stays with me, and you're not driving until further notice." Tyler laughed and said, "Sure, whatever. When I graduate, I'm out of here anyway. I already talked to Dylan's parents. I'll move in there. I don't need your money, and I don't need you." He'd rather damage his own life to make a point than take accountability for the situation with his brother. Because yes, technically he can move out after graduation. And yes, Dylan's parents are the type to think they're being the cool, open-minded ones. But Tyler quitting stability, structure, and home over 1 week of grounding. That's not independence. That's teenage spite. And for everyone who said the paycheck deduction was financial abuse, he solved that himself. He quit the job. Walked in, told his manager I was stealing his wages, and left. So now he has no money, no work experience continuity, and thinks that's a win because it proves I can't control him. My husband finally admitted he should not have taken him to the beach. Too late. Tyler took that as confirmation that I'm wrong and he's right. And now I'm the one left trying to hold some structure together before this turns into a permanent family fracture. As for Max, he's now milking the injury for attention. Drama at school, autograph on cast nonsense, telling different exaggerated versions of the fall depending on who's listening. The school suggested we consider starting a behavior plan or counseling. I haven't committed yet, but I'm not ignoring it. So where am I now? I still do not regret grounding Tyler. I still believe that if you see someone doing something dangerous, especially a younger sibling, and you do nothing, that is a choice with consequences. And I still believe Max's broken arm is punishment enough for him. But I am also not blind to the fact that something in this house is reaching a breaking point. And I don't mean bones this time. I don't have the neat resolution everyone seems to demand. I didn't suddenly see the light. I didn't apologize. I didn't unground him. I still believe the punishment fits the situation. But I can also see that my older son is now actively sabotaging himself, just to prove I can't enforce consequences, which scares me in a different way than the fall scared me. I don't need Reddit to agree with me. I just needed to say that out loud. Comments. Comment 1. You're not trying to teach your son a lesson, you're trying to break him for not reacting the way you wanted in a moment you weren't even there for. You're playing the long game of, I'll force you to feel what I felt, and calling it discipline. The paycheck thing. Unforgivable. That's a level of parental overreach that will bite you in the arse when this kid is done with high school. And let's talk about Max. He's straight up lying to classmates, telling stories, clout chasing his own injury, and you still frame him like he's a poor lost puppy just craving big brother love. No, he's manipulative, he's performative, and the school has already flagged it. But you're so focused on Tyler being indifferent that you can't see Max has figured out exactly how to make himself the center of gravity in your house. Your older son is trying to get away from the mess. Your younger son is trying to thrive in it. And you're feeding one and crucifying the other. Get help, OP, before both of them grow up with nothing but distance between them and you. Comment 2. You sound more obsessed with being right than being a parent. Your kid didn't hurt his brother. He was nearby while the kid pulled a dumb stunt. That's what 11-year-olds do. But instead of helping Max learn how to own his own actions, you railroaded your oldest because you were scared and needed someone to bleed for it. You keep calling it consequences, but you're handing down punishments like you're a pissed-off boss and Tyler's your underperforming intern. You're not teaching, you're flexing. You're humiliating him and stripping away anything that lets him feel in control of his life. And now he's checking out, and you act shocked. This ends with you crying in a couple of years, wondering why your son doesn't come home for holidays. Keep it up. You're laying that track yourself. Comment 3. Tyler didn't push Max, didn't dare him, didn't film it, and didn't cheer it on. He stood there and did nothing. That's it. And you acted like he stabbed someone in the hallway. You docked his pay, blocked him from a team trip, extended the grounding, took his phone, and tried to destroy his social life over an accident that wasn't his fault. You are parenting like a warden who needs to make an example. And then when your husband disagreed and Tyler got a tiny taste of freedom, you doubled down like a dictator who just had their orders defied. And the worst part? You still think you're the one in control. Newsflash, he's done. He quit his job. He's planning his exit. He'd rather burn every bridge than sit under your thumb. Update. I'm going to say this up front because I know what most of you expect. No, I have not suddenly decided I was entirely wrong. I still believe my initial logic made sense. But things progressed to a point that made me realize I had to change something, or I was going to lose my son, not in a dramatic, teenage door slam way, but in a real, long-term, permanent way. And that wasn't something I was willing to gamble. After my last update, the tension in the house didn't go away. If anything, the silence between me and Tyler became the air we breathed. He wasn't yelling, wasn't arguing, and wasn't even trying to defend himself anymore. He just disengaged. He stopped coming downstairs unless he had to. Ate in his room. Slept at weird hours. He wasn't rude, just absent. Max noticed. And that's what pushed things in a direction I couldn't ignore. One night, I went to check on Max because I heard him crying. He was sitting on the floor next to his bed, elbow propped on pillows, face red. He said, "He's never going to talk to me again, is he?" And I swear, that hit harder than the ER waiting room did. I sat down with him and asked him why he got up on that table that day. And Max didn't give me the dramatic, for attention confession like last time. He said something a lot simpler. I wanted him to think I'm not annoying. He didn't want to be cool. He didn't want to show off. He just didn't want to be dismissed. And I sat there, realizing that I've been so focused on making sure Tyler steps up that I never actually acknowledged that he has been quietly pulling away from his brother for years. He didn't ask to be the role model. He didn't ask to be idolized. And I was pushing an expectation onto him that he never agreed to. I didn't say anything that night. I just held Max while he cried himself to sleep. The next day, my husband and I finally had the conversation we should have had at the start. He said something that shut me up immediately. If Tyler moves out and cuts us off, it will be because of you. Not me. Not Max. You. And he wasn't yelling. He wasn't blaming. He was scared. He told me that after Tyler quit his job, after he threatened to move in with his teammate's family, my husband went to talk to him alone. And Tyler told him, in a calm, flat voice, "Mom doesn't love me." If he had screamed that, I could have chalked it up to teenage exaggeration. But he said it emotionless. Like a conclusion he'd already accepted and stored away. That's what broke me. Not anger. Not rebellion. Not attitude. Just resignation. I realized I had been so focused on raising a responsible son that I hadn't noticed Tyler stopped feeling like my son at all. He felt like the family employee. The one who is older is therefore obligated. Not loved differently. Expected differently. And I won't pretend that didn't come from somewhere inside me. So, I apologized. I said, "I was scared, and I took it out on you. I should not have made your brother's injury your burden. I shouldn't have taken your paycheck. I shouldn't have grounded you the way I did. I pushed too far." He didn't forgive me. Not instantly. He just listened. And I didn't demand a response. I also told him, I am stepping back. I am not going to ask him to correct Max, or intervene, or teach him anything. I told him he can just be his own person. I meant it. Then I went to Max. I told him that we are going to work on his behavior. That his body is not currency for attention. That showing off does not equal connection. I set up a meeting with the school counselor to start a behavior plan, not punishment. Support. I also sat down with my husband and told him something he needed to hear too. If he ever undermines my parenting like that again, taking Tyler to the beach behind my back, we will be heading towards divorce. Not as a threat, but because a family cannot have two leadership structures. He agreed. No fight, just understanding. He admitted he acted emotionally too. Tyler is still distant. But the absence feels different now. Not locked doors, just quiet healing space. He started showing up downstairs for dinner. He doesn't always talk, but he's there. Max stopped telling dramatic versions of the fall. He's embarrassed now, which is honestly progress. Embarrassment means he understands accountability. He and Tyler aren't suddenly bonded, but they sat on the couch and watched TV yesterday. Didn't talk much, but Max leant his head against Tyler's shoulder for about 2 seconds before pretending it didn't happen. Tyler didn't move away. That's enough for now. I didn't completely change my beliefs. I still think older siblings have some responsibility. I still think ignoring dangerous situations is wrong. But I also understand now that responsibility cannot be assigned. It has to be chosen. And I was so focused on forcing the lesson that I nearly broke the person I wanted to teach it to. I didn't lose. I didn't give in. I chose my family over being right. And that is the only outcome I'm interested in anymore. Edit. Also, just to clarify something that a few people asked about, Tyler spoke to his old boss last week, and they're giving him his job back. He handled it himself, no prompting from me. I also returned the money I took from his last paycheck. It felt like the right thing to do, and he didn't say much when I handed it over, but he nodded. That was enough. Comments. Comment 1. I'm glad you apologized. Really. But you still need to sit with the fact that you were this close to emotionally ejecting your own kid from the house over some moral crusade that had zero grounding in fairness. Tyler didn't hurt Max. He didn't incite anything. You just needed someone to blame because you couldn't stomach the fact that Max got hurt on your watch, under your parenting. You say you love them equally, but your actions scream otherwise. The way you twisted Tyler's paycheck into some sort of moral debt repayment was cruel as hell. He's a teenager, not your scapegoat. And the fact that he didn't rage or blow up, but just left emotionally. That's what years of quiet hurt look like. You've got time to fix it, sure. But don't pat yourself on the back yet. You didn't back down out of empathy, you did it because the threat of losing your son became real. It shouldn't have taken that. Comment 2. Look, parents mess up. Teens act out. Kids crave attention. The real issue here is the family structure and lack of support. Max's stunt and subsequent lying about a dare are red flags for impulsivity and attention seeking that won't fix with grounded weeks. He needs a behavior plan, maybe some counseling, and clear, predictable consequences that aren't emotionally driven. Tyler's reaction, disengaging, quitting his job, threatening to move out, is textbook avoidance and protest. He felt trapped between your expectations and his reality. You could have handled it differently, sure, but your fear after the ER was real. Instead of vilifying everyone, use that fear constructively. Get Max on a school plan. Find family therapy so Tyler can say what he feels without being punished for it. And get your husband aligned so there's one consistent message. You're not evil. Neither are your kids. But if you keep spinning this as, my son did X, so I'll ruin him until he learns, you'll create permanent damage. Shift to systems, counseling, school intervention, and joint parenting rules. That's how you stop this repeating. Second story. My best friend's boyfriend bullies me, and my friend does nothing, so I lashed out at him. Now my friend is telling me to toughen up and move on, so I toughened up and cut them both out of my life. For the past 9 years, I've been a part of a very tight-knit friend group. My best friend, her fiancé, and my fiancé. We've always done everything together: holidays, birthdays, traveling, board game nights. I even work at the same company as my friend. We met in a different company. She followed me to the new one. We are even planning to buy land and live near each other. Not anymore. But they don't know this yet. But her fiancé has always mocked me. Things like, wow, what a fat arse. You look like SHT, and stupid. Over the years, his comments have made me cry more times than I can count. I've brought it up with them many times. My friend has tried to talk some sense into him and made him apologize a few times. But the conclusion is always the same. That's just how he is. He jokes and teases everyone. He likes when something interesting is happening. The thing is, he directs it at me the most. Because I'm the perfect target, I actually react. Unlike my friend who doesn't care. He makes me feel inadequate in the worst way. I feel so bad in my own skin when I see myself through his eyes. I've tried everything they told me to do. Laugh it off. Ignore it. Pretend it doesn't hurt. I didn't want to cause drama. And honestly, I was afraid of losing them. They're my only close friends. 2 weeks ago, we went on a workation together. And as usual, he wouldn't let me fully relax and enjoy myself. But this time, I couldn't swallow it anymore. I was already in a really bad place emotionally, and physically I'm tapering off psych meds that numbed me for over 2 years. Without them, I feel everything 100x more intensely. His mocking and jokes felt like a knife twisted in my heart. On top of that, I had awful nausea, brain zaps, and dizziness every day. Still, I pushed through. I went on the hikes, I cooked dinner, and I made breakfast a couple of times. They knew how sick I felt. But he just kept going as usual. He called me a loser because I hesitated to walk too close to the campfire. I was dizzy and afraid I would lose my balance. In the car after a hike, he complained that my friend was the one looking up restaurants, as usual, not me, even though it's untrue. I reminded them that I can't look at my phone in the car without getting sick. And he just said, yeah, same as the rest of us. Later, when we got home, all I wanted was to lie down and relax, and he jokingly threw out, you never do anything, because I hadn't cleaned the pans from the dinner I had cooked for everyone. That's when I snapped. I told him how much his comments hurt me and how invisible I feel, and he barely listened and literally laughed in my face. My friend overheard everything from upstairs, and instead of supporting me, she said it was funny to listen to us fighting over dirty pans. But by then it wasn't about dishes anymore, it was about everything. I raised my voice from sheer frustration, and instead of trying to understand me, they both dismissed me. I felt like I was losing my mind. I ended up walking outside and crying, really crying for the first time in years. Only my fiancé followed me out, hugged me, and told me we could just leave. So the next morning, we packed up and went home. They were in shock. After that, I finally realized how different we really are. I'm naturally sensitive, maybe too much. They're the opposite. We're not compatible. I always feel like I have to hide my true emotions so I don't ruin their good mood or fun. I tried to talk to my friend about it again afterwards. She said there was no way she could have listened or comforted me that night because I raised my voice. She hates conflict and drama. So when someone shows strong negative emotions, she shuts down. And she always defends him. Claims he isn't and will never be an emotional person. She repeats I shouldn't take his words to heart because he treats me like a sister. So the message is always the same. I'm the one who should change. I should ignore him. Toughen up. Stop caring so much. But that's not who I am. And honestly, why is he allowed to just be himself? But I'm the one who has to change. At this point, I don't even think we're real friends anymore. I have started seeing a therapist, but I just feel so tired, sad, and confused. I'm still scared of losing them, but maybe that would be a good thing. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to get this many responses. Thank you. You have given me comfort and much to think about. To answer some of the reoccurring questions, my fiancé has defended me many times. He called out his behavior, insulted him but softly, and even had a sit down with him once. But none of this ever had any lasting effect. My fiancé is gentle by nature and doesn't like confrontation. He often suggested we make a change, but I was always too afraid of losing my friend. As for why I have been friends with them for so long, it's not like this all the time. They have many good qualities too. We share a passion for similar things: books, video games, traveling, cycling, and trekking. We had a lot of fun together over the years, many good memories. They make me laugh. But almost all of these memories are tainted by moments of hurt, which I have been ignoring for the sake of keeping the peace. But I don't want to do that anymore. Comments. Commenter 1. Your fiancé's friend is a bully. Straight up. Even kids know that if you make a joke at someone's expense, and they categorically tell you it hurts them, the only acceptable response is an apology. Your friend sucks arse too. If my partner did half the SHT hers did, I'd be on his arse to either change his behavior or it's over. Whether he was acting like that towards a stranger or someone close to me. The fact that she just expects you to put up with it is gross. You're not being overly sensitive. You're just at your wit's end. OP, thank you. I think she can't imagine how this makes me feel. And perhaps she is more like him than I realized. Just recently, she revealed that she used to say what's on her mind to people. And it didn't even cross her mind that someone could be hurt by her words. She stopped doing that after a year of therapy. But it's pretty telling. Commenter 2. Tight-knit friend group. Nope. True friends would never allow one of them to be bullied or insulted continuously. Time to block them all and find real friends. OP, deep down I know all of you are right. They are not true friends. And I am going to distance myself from them. But as to finding new friends, that feels impossible. I don't really know how. I find it hard to connect to people. Commenter 3. I'm sorry, but these aren't the actions of friends. That's gone past the point of playful banter and into just straight-up high school bullying. Friends shouldn't be making their friends feel like SHT. Even if he is just the type of person to playfully rib people, although from your descriptions of what he said, he's way past the point of playful ribbing. As soon as he found out that it was getting to you, he should have stopped. He's a piece of SHT for treating you like that, and your friend isn't any better. She's excusing it for the benefit of a quiet life for herself. She's okay with you being made to feel like SHT, but isn't okay with you standing up for yourself. You don't need people like that in your life. I'm so sorry that happened to you. You're not too sensitive. OP. They're just arsey holes. OP, thank you. It feels so good to see someone siding with me for a change. Commenter 4. Also, if it's just about the dishes, why didn't they clean up after you cooked? Why is that your problem when you cooked while feeling bad? And why is it okay for them to make fun of you for making sure you don't fall into the fire when they know you're off balance? Was this trip your idea? With how you're feeling, I'm surprised you wanted to do that. Just wondered if you were pressured into going to split costs and do a little of the cooking and cleaning. I hope the trips are generally shared work, but the mention of cooking and then expecting you to clean made me wonder. OP. This trip was planned and paid for months in advance. Plus, I didn't know I would be feeling this bad after the withdrawal. My friend and fiancé cook and clean as well. So I wanted to do my part too. Commenter 5. She is not your friend. If I heard my husband once mock a friend or family member, that would be the last time he would do that. Do yourself a favor and stop being friends with them. I wonder how he treats her when nobody is around. OP. I was thinking about this the other day. If the roles were reversed, I would leave my fiancé immediately. He does mock her often, but as I have mentioned, she doesn't really mind. And he treats her like a princess most of the time. I am beginning to suspect she likes that he is a bad boy that treats her sweetly. Does the friend's fiancé insult her as well? Not just OP. OP. He actually does insult her a lot. He is rude by nature. They used to fight a lot, but she seems okay with it nowadays. Commenter 6. How would he react if you spoke to him back this way? Probably like a giant big effing baby. OP. I have tried this strategy too, many times. But my mocking doesn't affect him in the slightest. And if it transforms into a heated argument, my friend goes quiet, so I often back down to avoid hurting her. Did OP grow up in a toxic environment because of her tolerance for abuse? OP? Yeah, I actually did. My father had anger issues and constantly belittled my mother and brother. He was gentler with me, but I was burnt a few times too. Update. I have officially ended things with my friend and her fiancé. I took all your advice to heart, talked to my therapist, and did a lot of self-reflecting. But the thing that really convinced me to do it was this. I didn't see them for over a month, barely messaged them, and it was the most peaceful month I had in years. I didn't miss them at all. I felt calm and alive. I felt almost happy. Recently, I attended a work team building event for the first time without my friend, and it was amazing. I never had this much fun at previous events. I talked to people, laughed, and socialized. And people wanted to talk to me, too. 2 guys said they wished they had got to know me sooner. That I am a great person. It was shocking how much at peace I felt when I didn't have to perform or manage her feelings and worry about her discomfort. She disliked these events and the work people. Yesterday, I told her the truth that I have been feeling better ever since I have distanced myself from them. She got defensive and hurt, blamed me for saying such a hurtful thing, said goodbye and then blocked me. I feel bad about that. The old guilt and people-pleasing instinct have kicked in. But I know I did the right thing. I just wanted to thank everyone who gave me advice in the original post. Comments. Commenter. Oh no, she understands what hurt feelings are. Good for you. Toxic friends like these suck the fun out of life. Update me when her fiancé tries to talk some SHT. OP. He actually wanted to come over tomorrow to collect his games. But my fiancé told him he will drop these over at a mutual friend's place. He would have talked SHT for sure. Commenter 2. I would also block her back everywhere you might have her, so that she can't control communication with you. And block her partner too. Have your partner block both of them too. And then go on to live your best life without them dragging you down. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.